I got another Indonesian story. Actually, I've got two. The first one is a lot better than the first. The beach at Bali is like really quite long, and you can walk like about a mile away from the town actually. And it was quite early in the morning. When I'm in Indonesia, I get up at 4 in the morning, but at the same time I go to bed here. Um, anyway, so it's way at the end of the beach. I don't think anybody's there, and the beach was unusual because there were quite deep pools of water. It was on a beach you'll find pools of water, but not fairly deep ones in like sand almost, as I remember it. Anyway, so it's just so glorious, really. And I'm sitting there. I think I'm by myself, and when I think back at it, it felt more remote than it was because if you walked down, you wouldn't know that there were little roads that came down to the beach. And so I'm sitting there, and a pregnant Indonesian lady comes and sits down either in the same pool or in the pool next to me. And she sits down, and I get talking to her, and I ask, well, what's up? And she explains that Indonesian women have a tradition where if they're preparing to give birth, they'll go and sit in these little pools. And I guess you could say trick the baby into thinking that, the outside environment is the same consistency as the inside environment because it's watery and warm. And it's actually the same salinity. And, it's a kind of a cute little story like that, I think, that they have. And that it works. I don't know. I'm not a whatever that kind of doctor is. But so I'm sitting there talking to her, and her water broke. And she gets up and walks back to the car, and her husband's waiting for her, and they drove off. I think in travel you have these like really quick intimacies. I don't mean like physical intimacies. I guess that was kind of physical in a way, but you have these intimacies with people that you don't have. I don't think so. Regular life, whatever that is, I don't think you have it. And I think that it's just more interesting to meet people from other cultures that just totally think differently. And so the other one is I'm standing there watching the sunset, the Bali sunset. A lot of people believe that's the most beautiful sunset in the world, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is. So they got all these bars on the beach, and everybody's looking at the sunset, right? And so what nobody appeared to notice is that if you look in the opposite direction into the sunset, into the opposite side of the sky, it's not quite as spectacular, but it's as beautiful in a more subtle way. Just the range of colors and it's almost like a texture or something. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but if you look one way, it was just as beautiful as looking the other. And so, I'd seen this sunset a few times. So what I did was I stood in front of the bar, looking at the people in the bar, or not looking at them really, but looking over their heads, and just kind of paying attention to see if it would occur to a single one of these lunkheads sitting there drinking beer, watching the sunset, to just look in the opposite direction, just to look behind themselves, like they missed it, right? And not one of them did. Not one of them did. That reminds me of flying in sort of almost like a thunderstorm in Japan, but there were big patches of open blue sky and just all these fantastic clouds, probably like 10,000 feet, 10,000 foot clouds billowing away, So I think that's maybe one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, I think. And nobody looked out the window. And I was saying, oh my God, look at this. And we were with a group of, I don't know how many people. And so I was, saying it pretty loudly. I think some of the people I was with peeked, but nobody else on the plane. It's just like, wow, that's sick. I just, that makes me feel sick. That made me feel sick at the time. Anyway, okay. Is that the last story? The last Indonesia story? I think so. Seems to me there's something else. Okay, I hope not.